I mean, we can start to list off some themes maybe around illness, death and dying, poverty and hunger, family, relationships, life cycle and growth. What's something that's important in your tradition in those areas?
In the Christian Catholic tradition, baptism, of course, is a commitment to live your life now as God has called us to live. But the sacrament of confirmation, that's really where you're expected now to begin to get involved in your community, act for...
Welcome to a typical day for Scarboro missionaries, such as Father Mike Traher and Sister Lucy Thorson, as they go about finding and creating situations of dialogue amongst various faiths in the city of Toronto. The Tzedakah Tzedakah project, run by Jewish and Muslim university students, is looking to hear from all faiths as to how theology and social action work together amongst members of the world's major religions.
For the lives of other people. It might be justice, it might be working out of the cold, and that's really an invitation of Jesus to reach out, especially to the poor.
That drive toward community activism is a push that we're seeing in a lot of different traditions as we sort of want to engage our local communities who may or may not be made up of people.
Earlier generations of missionaries from Scarborough Missions set out to carry the message of Jesus to many parts of the world. But they also learned many important lessons in terms of what it means to be a minority in another culture, and how to value the beauty and authenticity of the religious faiths already there.
We've had the experience of living among people of other cultures. If you look at the Canadian church now, many of the cultures have come to be our neighbors here in Canada. But we still have a long way to go to really value and appreciate what they bring or what they could offer to us as a church.
There was a time when the church felt that most of anything that was important in terms of God, the Spirit, was within the church. But what we're recognizing today is the Spirit of God is also in other religions. The Spirit of God is calling us to reach out, to bridge with them, to dialogue with them, to experience together how God is moving among us.
It's a time of uncertainty, of questioning. It's a time when we need to be perhaps not talking so much, but listening, looking, talking to each other.
In countries such as modern-day Japan or communist China, where explicit missionary work was discouraged or forbidden, Scarborough's missionaries conveyed their message through example and through dialogue.
Our work in China was very much the ministry or an evangelization through witness of life, work, spiritual experiences, any experiences. Our commitment to our work in China was to teach English as well as we could, but to live as a Christian on the university campus and to share our values and what we felt was important, our faith, with the students to the extent that we were able. And then by our teaching to contribute as well to their welfare and their opportunity to improve their education, to get a job, to be able to work. We couldn't talk about religion in the classroom. We could answer questions. And they had all kinds of questions. And they were sharing also with us their own worldview, their own experiences, their own lives. And of course, you learn from hearing how other human beings experience things and what they have to go through in their lives and what they value. And that sometimes their values add to yours or challenge yours. In my mind, the whole field of mission has done a complete reversal. And I often like to say to people, in 1918, the priests from Scarborough went to China. In the year 2000, China came to Scarborough. The geographical area of Scarborough is filled with people from the Orient. Many of them who have come here from mainland China, and they don't have any religious background, and they're very open to religion. And to me, that's where the mission field is right now. I think it's a time when we come together and say, let's search together and see what God may be calling not just Scarborough Missions to, but the church to today, in terms of how do we bring the message of Jesus to the world in which we live today, and it's changing so radically.
When there isn't anything contentious going on. There's just sort of a distance.
It is this learned ability to enter into dialogue that Scarborough's missionaries are now beginning to apply to the multi-faith, multicultural situation on their doorstep in Canada.
Islam would say about this, but what is the difference, or what are the differences between charity and justice?
One of the things that strikes me, perhaps, about the understanding of justice is that it's to do with relationships. It's to build right relationships. And sometimes charity can be seen as giving, as simply going one way to those in need, whereas somehow I understand justice, there being a mutuality there and a balance.
Right. Thanks for the great question.
It's going to take place in things like interfaith dialogue. It's going to take place in working cooperatively with other groups on issues that are of importance to us as Christians and human beings, and to work with other groups on those issues that are important, and try to see where is God in this, what is God calling us to in this, how can we respond most generously and not be afraid.
Thank you.